Alastair, have you seen a shift in training standards over the last couple of weeks?
Well, we're always trying to train as well as we possibly can, but listen, there's been a lot made of that in more recent times. But the bottom line is that the intent and attitude of the guys is great. Do we train because we're a youngish group? Do we train as with the quality of some of the more experienced sides in the comp? It probably surprises not many that the difference was probably just what you see on game day. So we just got to win. We know where we're at as a footy club. Interesting enough, I sat with Mick Wigwan after 2 of those sessions, and he said, "Geez, your young bloke's looking great, and training really well." So you just become an easy target when you're losing games of footy, and we understand that. And all the scribes who I've seen make commentary on where we're at as a club, they've been through it themselves, either in their playing or coaching career. So it's we don't want to accept that, but we just got to understand where we're at as a club. And as long as the endeavour is great and the intent's great by our players, we know improvement will come, and that's the case. We couldn't question the guys in terms of their effort to come and apply themselves when they come to train. So we just slowly and gradually get better, and but that'll take a period of time rather than it all happening overnight.
Yeah, what did you make of Nathan Buckley's comments about the reaction to Jackson Archer's 50-minute penalty?
I actually haven't seen what Bucks had to say. Most coaches haven't got the time to be watching all the television programs and all the commentary that goes around on it. But I've become aware that he had some comments about Arch, but same sort of thing. He sits on the bench. Arch is a very, very emotional lad. Sometimes when he makes a mistake, like most players really, sometimes when they make an error, the last thing he actually wants is someone coming to console him. And he had a couple of youngish players on the bench next to him that perhaps they don't understand right just yet what's required in that instance as well. But there's all these little things that happen in games of footy. You go to 17 clubs in the competition and make judgment on what's going on. And as I said, you just become a little bit of an easy target when you're not winning games of footy. And there's lots of instances of that across all clubs.
How do you assess the challenge in Darwin? Can be tough playing in those conditions.
Yeah. We got the balls a little bit damp today, just to expect that in humid and perhaps slippery conditions. Just to get used to it. We've been playing with balls that have got good grip on them at the minute down playing south, but it'd be a little bit different with either sweat or humidity. So we've got to get ourselves ready for that. I'm sure Gold Coast are doing the same thing, and it'd be a different sort of game because of the conditions. But having said that, it's a dry season up there now. It might be really good too. So we just need to prepare for both and see what happens.
What about the game itself in Darwin in front of very passionate footy crowd in Northern Territory?
Yeah. It is a sort of carnival atmosphere. It's a different sort of atmosphere when you're playing Darwin, and there's a lot of folk up there that don't get to see a lot of AFL footy live. So they come from far and wide. We've got a crew coming from Jabiru, which is a great little Aboriginal community in the sort of southeast, and they're heavily linked to Caulfield Grammar and the Stars Foundation. So we're looking forward to be able to host them over the couple of days, and just enjoy just how much passion there is for the game up there. I've read some stuff about the NT trying to get a side in there at some point in time next 10 years or so, and I think it'd be a great thing. There's so much passion up there, a little bit like Tasmania. There's so much passion for the code, so it'd be great to get up there amongst it over the weekend.
Clarko, do you mind if we just talk about Jen's email about Taran? Just from your point of view or the club's point of view, why was it important to sort of alert other clubs and CEOs that despite your best efforts to change his behaviour, that it might be a difficult challenge for anyone that takes him on?
Yeah, well, I think we've been over the Taran stuff a lot, so there's no need to actually talk specifically about that because everything's been spoken about, including me, on numerous occasions. And as for Jen's letter, I haven't even read the letter and don't know what the contents of it were. And she's probably the best spokesperson on behalf of our club to speak about it, what her intent was, and yeah, I haven't really got much to comment on it because I haven't seen the letter. I've only heard what you guys have read in the papers as well, and that you know, she had something to say and sharing it around that issue last weekend. But I am not in a really good position to comment on it really.
Yeah, fair enough. How do the players embrace the soapy balls, and do you roll that sort of tactic out often and just only ahead of a wet game? Do you think?
Yeah, I remember years and years ago when I played a game in Sydney under John Kennedy, and it was muddy ground, and he got us to do forward rolls in the mud. You know, everyone's a little bit apprehensive about the wet conditions when it's muddy and that sort of stuff, and it was just like, no, you're sliding through the mud before the game even starts. We looked like weirdos, really. Mud all over us before we even started the game. And, but it got us prepared. So we just want to make sure our mind's ready for what's coming, and don't expect that the ball's just going to be nice and easy to handle, and it might be a little bit different conditions up there. So let's just be ready for it. If it's great conditions, then that's what we're used to. If it's a little bit slippery, then hopefully we'll be ready for that.
What did you do to the ball? Did you just spray it with water, put some soap on it? What did you do?
Yeah, just put a bit of detergent and some water, and just did some of our training with a wet ball. Yeah.
If we just rewind back to last week, it was nice might not be the right word, but a moment where Jai Simpkin went at Jimmy Webster to stand up for himself. Just your reaction to seeing the skipper do that, given their history in the pre-season?
I think they get on with the footy really. You know, Jimmy made a mistake in terms of his kick that gave a turnout over to our side. So that's just a little bit of fun and games really. But I think there was. I know the Webster family, I know Jimmy. I think there's genuine remorse from him in terms of sometimes those things happen in footy. You can't even. I've been involved in them myself. You can't even explain why and how, and it happens in footy. And I know from the correspondence that I had with Jimmy post that there's a significant amount of remorse. And I think once you've been in the game for a long period of time, even for someone like Jai, who was on the receiving end of it, accepts that these things happen in the game, and yeah, he's prepared to move on. I'm sure Jimmy is as well.
How's Jai going? How's he progressing? Is he feeling good in himself after that concussion?
Yeah, he seems to be going fine. He's not playing anywhere near the level he's capable of to this point in the season. I don't think that's got anything to do with his concussion. I certainly hope it doesn't. But yeah, he knows that his form hasn't been as good as he would have liked, and yeah, hopefully that can turn around a bit this week.
What do you put that down
to? Well, it's hard to say, because if we could have put a finger on it, either he or me, then it would have corrected itself by now. So you know, his application to his training and his vibrancy and positivity around the place has been first class. And usually, as long as you continue to train hard, and sometimes you'll have patches of form. I'm not sure if you're a cricket buff, but I remember Greg Chappell in the 80s. He's batting really well, but just kept making ducks. But thought he was batting really well on the nets, but just couldn't produce out on the ground. And sometimes players go through that, and as long as the intent of his training and that sort of stuff, then he's too good a player to be held down for too long. So he'll bounce back, and hopefully he can make a solid contribution for us in this week's game.
Potentially a bit unfair. Not sure if you're aware, the news has just come out that Will Powell from the Suns has been suspended for 5 matches for a homophobic slur. Do you have any reaction to that?
Oh, same thing. I've only just heard that as I walked into this, so I don't know what was said, how it was said, when it was said, any of that. So I'd prefer not to comment until I'm just in a bit better position to understand what's been said.